everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all types of topics related to narcissism. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help me out, and definitely don't forget to leave a comment because I like to read what you have to say. A narcissist has a much bigger ego than common sense. They have a superiority complex that benefits us in every way. Who's in the better position? The one who overestimates their intelligence and capabilities, or the one who is underestimated? Sun Tzu, a famous general and philosopher who wrote the book The Art of War, answers this brilliantly. The opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. And most definitely you're in a war and the narcissist is your enemy. They're actively opposed and hostile to us. None of us expected to have to go to war in our own relationships, but only one side has to make that decision, and the narcissist did. Of course, we can surrender without fighting, and many of us do. We become human doormats, people pleasers, abused, confused, afraid, lonely, and alone. But in today's video, I'm going to discuss the power you have because narcissists will always underestimate us. With that knowledge, you can control not only your fate, but the narcissists. Oh, the power we had no idea was ours. So many of us, myself included, have been afraid of the narcissist. The truth, though, is the narcissist actually should fear us, but they are way too cocky to realize that. And that brings to mind another brilliant Sun Tzu quote, "Never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake." And make no mistake about it, the narcissist is most definitely our enemy. They oppose us. They feel hatred for us. They look down on us. They want us to fail. If you're in a relationship with someone who celebrates you failing, who finds pleasure in your pain, who causes you pain deliberately and revels in it, what else could it be? A narcissist isn't even a real person. They're a mix of personalities. They are horrendous people. Not even people, they're beings, they're entities, they're demons. Inside, they're a toxic mixture of anger, resentment, jealousy, and revenge. They are instinctively disgusted with us because we can see, feel, enjoy, and experience love, joy, happiness. Recently, Joe played his guitar for me for the first time. And you guys, I was so moved, I went right past crying and straight into sobbing. Joe had to hold me while I released some of what I was feeling. His music was indescribably beautiful. Hearing and watching him play was an intimate experience. Joe was trusting me with his soul, and my own soul responded in a big way. I could feel it inside me. In my chest, I could feel his soul connecting with mine. A narcissist could never understand that. It would mean nothing. Love is a meaningless word. They both resent us and hate us for our humanity, for having a soul. Narcissists are ugly inside. They're rotten. And not only do they invent themselves, they invent you. A narcissist doesn't see you for who you really are. They've decided who you are, and they see you that way always. They do the same thing with themselves. Always they are better than you in every way. You are always inferior, and they treat you as such. They believe it is their right to abuse us. It doesn't bother them. They want to do it. The entire reason that my ex was shocked when I left was because he overplayed his hand. His superiority was a massive weakness. I'm going to read you the entirety of the text that I received the day that he discovered I was gone. This wasn't the day that I actually left. It was the next day. But you'll see in the text how he goes from cockiness to utter disbelief. I did not play by the rules. And he, even at the very end, was having trouble understanding this. Now, at the very beginning, the first text starts off with, "Are you okay? You haven't responded to me." Now, the reason he texted like that was because he expected me to be excited because he left me a Christmas present. Now, I never actually got this Christmas present, but he told me earlier that he had left a Christmas present by the door. And when I didn't respond, this was the first text he sent. He expected that I was going to get excited about this. I was going to contact him. Everything that he's done in the past 2 years, prior to that even, didn't matter. He got me a gift, and that his view of me was that he is so fantastic. All he needs to do is put out the smallest bit of effort, and I'm going to be incredibly excited. It moved on to threats. If you don't reply to me, I'm going to have the police do a wellness check. Then you're not at the house. Your phone goes right to voicemail. Yesterday's mail is in the mailbox. Where did you go? I'm going to call your parents. Then, apparently, he came over and was wandering around the yard because his next text was, the chickens are gone. Then, apparently, he was looking in the windows of the house because he texts me and says, no Christmas tree? What have you been planning? Wiped out the checking account? For those of you that don't know, I took $600. WTF is going on? Looks like there are no animals on the first floor. What are you doing? What are you doing? Again, another text. Tell me what's going on. Then, WTF is happening. Then he goes on to, I'm going to have an Amber Alert put out for A. That's our 15-year-old. Please reply. Text me again. Reply now. I need you to reply immediately. I'm going to have to file an Amber report. Now, the thing about an Amber report, if you look that up, this is for children that are in immediate physical danger, not children that are with their parent. But for him, it was literally straight into the text. He hasn't seen his kids in 2 years. Suddenly, he's going to put out this Amber Alert to panic me. He wanted me back. I was like an animal. I think a lot of times a narcissist looks at us like an animal. We're in a cage. They want us to be in a cage. Our houses, our apartments, wherever we live, that's our cage. And they know where we are. They keep tabs on us in our cage, and we belong there. We're not allowed to leave. If we leave, they need to look for us and get us back. His last text that he sent me said, locksmith is coming now. Later, he switched to email, and he probably sent me about 15 emails that said, call me right now. I need to talk to you right now. Please call me. Please, 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 please call me. Please call me. He started getting desperate. He didn't know what to do. It didn't occur to him that I had valid reasons to leave. For him, this was utter confusion. He didn't know what was going on. To any rational human being, me leaving would not be a surprise. Maybe how I left, but even that was because he gave me no choice. But at the same time, I was able to meticulously plan to leave because he never suspected a thing. He believed he knew me and I was an animal in his cage, his pet. He could decide whether I got to go out of my cage for a time or not. He could decide if I was a good girl, if I got a treat. The reality is they will never understand that people change, grow, and adapt. A narcissist doesn't understand people. That gives me a tremendous advantage in the war. And think about it. You know what the enemy is thinking about you and about themselves. Use that power. You're in a battle for your life. You only have one life, and the narcissist is out to destroy it. I know you don't want to believe that. I didn't for so long. I wanted to believe that when I first started learning about narcissism, I actually thought, wow, this is a good thing. I know what the problem is now. Now, he later was diagnosed. This is the thing I've said several times in my videos, just so people who haven't had somebody diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, my personal belief is I don't think it matters. My ex was formally diagnosed as having NPD. However, I knew months earlier that that was the problem. When somebody has narcissism, and they don't usually get it diagnosed, when somebody has narcissism, the symptoms are so obvious. Anybody can know, you can know this. You do not need a psychiatrist to tell you this. If you believe you're with a narcissist, do not think this is good news. Now she can change. Narcissists see, just like I mentioned earlier in the video, they see you always the same way. They see themselves always the same way, and they are better than you. they are perfect. They are your better. They will never admit that they're a narcissist, because if they admit that, it means that they're not perfect. They need help. They need to change. They've done things wrong. In order to change from being a narcissist to being a healthy individual, if it's possible at all, which I personally don't believe it is, you'd have to look at yourself. You'd have to see what you have done so that you can correct the behavior. Picture yourself, say you were a drug addict or an alcoholic. How can you possibly get better if you don't recognize, all right, I have a problem. I'm an alcoholic. I need to stop drinking. I need to do this. I need to do that. If you don't ever see it, if you think to yourself instead, what the heck, why are people telling me this? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I'm perfect. I don't have any problems. That's how the narcissist looks at things. That's what you're up against. So hoping the narcissist change, praying the narcissist changes, is only going to leave you in the entanglement longer, and you're going to waste time that you could be free. And I did this for years. I really hoped he would change, but ultimately for all of us, the only person that can truly change is you. You can change and get out. But remember, you know the rule book, the playbook, not the rule book, the playbook the narcissist is playing by. You know everything that they're going to do. All their cards are on the table. They have no idea what you are capable of. They will never see you coming. They'll look right past the obvious, waiting for the person they believe you are to appear. When my son was 5, for his 5th birthday, I got him this aquarium. And it was this beautiful aquarium. It was so nice, it was a 10-gallon, but we had set it up so nice. He picked everything out himself. So we had this cute little boat at the bottom. He had a treasure chest, and there was this little log that the fish could swim through. We got 10 fish. He had fish that swam at the top, then he had some in the middle, and then he had the bottom fish. We set it up together. It was such a great mother and son thing to do. And because he was 5, I was the one that was really responsible for taking care of it. And I did try my best. I really wanted this thing to look fantastic. And it did for a couple of days. And then, it started looking a little dirty, and I tried to keep up with the cleaning. I did keep up with the cleaning. I actually found out that I was over cleaning it. So there's such a thing as over cleaning it. But it wasn't as clean and sparkly as it was when we first got it. So I kept cleaning it, and then I was doing water changes, and then I found out I was changing the water too often. So the filter that we got, I didn't think it was a good enough one, so we got another filter, and it was just murky. It didn't look good. I wasn't happy with how it looked. So I kept trying to work on this thing. Eventually, the tank was just kind of disgusting. Now, the fish all lived, and I did constantly try to maintain it, but it just, I don't know, tell me, maybe I was particularly inept at fish tanks, but I struggled massively with this tank. A couple years later, all the fish were dead, and I was actually happy because I was ready to give up on this tank. I kept going with it, but it was a nightmare. The tank would smell. It was horrible. This kind of reminds me of a narcissistic, say, relationship entanglement. They start off, and you think everything is so perfect and wonderful, and it starts gradually you start, little cracks turn up in the relationship. It's not as nice as it was. At some point, it is a downright disaster. You're way over your head, and the best thing to do is just let the relationship die. That's how it is in these entanglements. You are in a nightmare scenario. You're not alone. So many of us, too many of us, get involved, and we don't know what the heck's going on because these things are not human. They don't act the way that you would expect a person to act. They are vile and cruel, and it takes a long time for us to truly understand this. And at that time, by the time we do, we have a huge investment. We have kids, we have houses together, our money's tied up, and probably the narcissist has destroyed your finances, especially if they're covert. You don't know what to do. So many of us end up staying, kind of living a separate life or hoping it will improve. Maybe the narcissist will die. That was my great, brilliant idea. The truth is that you are in a war. And if you lay down, you will get steamrolled. You have to fight. Picture if you were walking down the street, all right, and somebody, say you're a woman, you're walking down the street and somebody tries to grab your purse. Would you just give it to them? I wouldn't. I would try to fight it back. Or somebody had, say you were walking down the street and you're holding your child's hand and someone tries to take your child, are you just going to say, oh, well, all right, I guess I'll have another one, or I guess this is how my life is? No, you would fight. Fight for your own life too. Really, the narcissist is always going to be who they are. They're like an animal. If you have a cat or a dog, your cat or your dog, you might love your cat or your dog. I have cats and dogs and I love them, but they're always only going to be a cat or a dog. They can never be anything else. 100 years from now, there's going to be cats and dogs that are who they are today as well. People can adapt, grow, thrive, become anything you want. If you guys had seen me a couple of years ago, I was a scared woman. I was terrified of my ex. I didn't have any friends. I was afraid to socialize. I was afraid to talk to people. I was telling Joe the other day, I was even afraid to call and make doctor's appointments. My ex had me so convinced that people didn't like me, I developed massive social anxiety. Today, I'm free from him and my life is so much better. I'm happy. I'm in a loving relationship. This can happen to anybody. So I implore you, please remember you're in a war. Fight so that you can be free. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you with one more Sun Tzu quote. In the midst of chaos, there's opportunity. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope that this helps somebody. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. Joe and I are planning a video over the weekend. I know he's been spotty on the show, but hopefully he'll be back on Monday. And until then, I guess I'll see you in the comments. Bye, everybody.